Welcome everyone, this is Pine of Needles and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week I'm joined by Cinders
Hello.
and Sanswinda.
Hello, everybody.
Hello there, and welcome to our latest episode where we are going to have a look at the latest update for LOTRO. This is update 48.2. So continuing along with the story of Mizadi, the big item is that the second set of the Glorious Hunt quests are now available. So you can meet up with Shara Mizadi in Hanamiku in Pahar Harakili to resume your journey. Of course, if you didn't finish the previous set, then you'll need to complete that first before starting the second set. So this is the second part of 3 parts for this, and the third part is expected to be in a little bit less than 2 weeks from now. Also, gather friends and seek out challenging foes in the darkness. Powerful members of Kishashu's Risen have invaded the Hadakali Fells near Muturu and Imizila, and frankly, I haven't slightest idea what they're saying here, because I'm still going through the main storyline and I'm not looking out for. I would presume this is something similar to roving threats or something like that that's going on in the area. And I'm definitely not going out of my way in order to seek out such things. So I am going to be concentrating, at least in my playtime, on that first part, on continuing along with the Mizadi storyline. As for other things, there is an update to the Minstrel where Armor of the Triumphant Song no longer erroneously causes the Echo Heal of Triumphant Spirit to play more than once per day, per player. Okay. For housing and decorations, fix an issue with shared housing storage where bank capacity would not correctly be calculated, preventing storage of items for Rivendell housing, Belfalis Islands, and Rohan Towers and Caves. And as for items and rewards, the deed tracking the acquisition or use of the Ringwraith baubles from the legendary servers was errantly removed. This has been fixed, and now players who newly acquire one of these unique server baubles will correctly earn the item across their account. As before, if you have previously acquired the item, use of the bauble skill and the item will populate to all of the other characters on your account. So this is one of those little perks that you could earn from the legendary world. For Monster Play, Tyrant Tharbil once again displays his correct name. What? He was being shown as anonymous or something like that?
Maybe.
As for quests and instances in the anniversary mission, the Fortress of Onathron, an issue has been resolved that caused Onathron to become unattackable after a player wipe.
That's a good thing they fixed that, because that'd be really annoying.
Well, let's see.
Assuming you're supposed to attack Olnathron.
Yeah, you're supposed to attack Nolan. That's the final boss for the mission.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think that wipes would be all that common on that particular battle. Okay.
Well, fair.
I mean, it's a mission as opposed to raids in 6-player instances where they're common.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But okay, anyway, that if all the players die in it, either one or both, depending on how many have inside the mission, it looks like now it will reset properly. That's good.
If you have to suddenly get up and chase your dog and are killed.
Well, yeah, that could cause a problem. That could be a problem, yes. The Rohan Suit Cross quest, Foes from All Sides, now advances and completes correctly. The Folly of Nagahedi, Malkorn's avalanche ability should more reliably fire when the tank is under the effect of the unstable buff. And the appearance of Aradel in the Book 15 Daughter of the Strife session play has been reverted to the original appearance. I don't think I have seen this alternate appearance that they had in there, so I have no idea whether it was something that they did and that people gave feedback on and they decided to revert, or if it was accidentally changed. Anyway, that's it for the updates for 48.2. I will presume that there will be a 48.3 in about 2 weeks when the third part of the storyline is released. Now, one of the other things that is semi-related to this is that I have been checking for the last few updates to see if they ever got around to fixing the issue with the Adagi and Zijana missions where they were stuck on the same set of 5 every single day and not alternating as they were supposed to. And it looks like that the people at Saying Stone Games finally got word that there was an issue here. Apparently, they must have misunderstood the bug report I filled out a month ago, and they kicked the server and it started working again after that.
Excellent.
So apparently, it's something that didn't require an update. They just had to, change a setting inside of the server. And well, I've only checked it a couple of times there, but we did have on one of the days, they did have the other set of missions, and so I was finally able to run them.
Nice.
Also, we have a episode of We Have a Cave Troll coming up next Thursday. That'll be on May 14th, where Orion and Scenario will be getting together to discuss something about game development and all that stuff. They have their usual things. This case, it is gaming as game designers. I guess how being a game designer influences how you game and things like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out next Thursday. Now, they have posted, because last week I did mention that Scenario had his Undoing, his part 4 of his Rivers of Middle Earth series, and so they're doing the third part of the Undoing section on there. And there is a YouTube video that has been posted that contains that little journey. And finally, there is a new Patron's Coffer, the Timeless Patron's Coffer of the Noldor. And I have a link to in the forums to a video by Runfura who went through all the various cosmetics that are available in this one. So he talks about the intro, the emotes, the cosmetic weapons, the weapon aura, the cosmetic pet, which is the timeless elf hawk of the Noldor, the steed, war steed cosmetics, and all, of course, usual things, the cosmetic armor that you get to it. So showing off everything that you have for the latest of the patron coffers. And we do have a link both to the video and also in our store sales section, we do have a link to the description of the patron's coffer itself. the Timeless Patrons coffer of the LOTRO, and so if you want to see still images of it, they will be in the link of that from Stone Games section of it. It does include a new milestone skill. Timeless Patrons, mm, and of course, and of course some mithril in there. And of course, if you're looking to get some mithril coins anyway, then this may be a good way in doing it. I haven't done the calculations on it, but I know that some of the early ones, at least, it was a pretty good value if you were planning on buying the mithril anyway, which of course is a big if.
Right.
And with that, let's head into the sales and see what else we have in the sales section. Sans, what's on sale this week?
Well, this week, of course, you can get the newest patron coffer, which is available a little bit longer than just this week, I believe.
May 17th?
Yeah, you can get all the way through the 17th, as opposed to the other things that should end on the 14th. So then, well, some of them end tomorrow as well. So if you're listening to this live, you can still get 35% off shared wardrobe space, 40% off Valor boosts, excluding the level 150 Valor, and 50% off all carryalls through tomorrow. But if you're listening to the recording, you may have missed it because that's May 10th. And then through May 14th, you can get 20% off the plus 2,000 Virtue Acceleration, the plus 5,000 Enhanced Reputation Supply, and the plus 100% Mark Acquisition boosts. Once again, that's through May 14th. And the weekly coupon will get you a free gray die with the coupon code STORMYGREY. That's STORMYGREY. And that code is also good through May 14th.
I thought it was going to be Grey Wizard or something like that.
Right.
No, I guess some people will think, oh, is that going to be a Gandalf property guard or something?
I mean, that would be really interesting.
Yes. Let's then head into our new players' questions for this week, and we're continuing along with our theme of questions posed by Sans, and it looks like we're talking about war steeds this week.
Yeah. So, the first part of this first question, do the amount of initial skills for mounted combat vary greatly between classes? I think the number of skills actually varies that greatly, but I don't know. What do you think, Pineleaf?
I don't recall there being a significant difference between the numbers of them. The ones, I guess part of it is, yeah, when you have the initial skills, I mean, I usually see about 2 or 3 of them for each class.
Yeah, you just get a very small number.
Right, plus there are a couple of generic ones
Plus the
also on
generic
top of that.
ones. And everybody gets the generic ones.
Right.
And the biggest difference there is you've got a very big difference in the amount of ranged skills versus melee skills, depending on what class you're playing.
As usual.
As usual. Which you can probably guess if your class is ranged, you have more ranged skills, or perhaps all ranged skills. And if your class is melee, you have more melee skills, or if you're really unlucky, you might have all melee skills initially. I haven't tested that. Part 2. For mounted combat, does changing your trait line, stance, and/or riding stance always change your skills? Yes.
Your trait lines?
Your war steed does have a trait line. You can access it. I believe the keyboard shortcut is Control M. Maybe it's Shift M. Will open up your war steed thing, and you have different trait lines for your war steed, just like you do for yourself. And the answer is, if you change your trait line, it will change your skills. It will also dismount you. And it will warn you that it's about to dismount you. Yeah. So you can change your mind if you don't want to be dismounted.
Yeah. But trait lines aren't as strongly enforced in this in that you could jump back and forth between trait lines and where you put your points in on the.
Well, okay, so maybe I'm saying this wrong. So there are 3 trait lines, but then on the side there are trait specs?
Oh, oh, okay, okay. Oh, when you say trait
So,
lines,
like,
you
if
oh,
you
you
say
mean
you change your set of trait lines,
you're talking about then the
right? So,
steed
like,
that
you
you're
have
riding,
right. So, well, you could have 2 that are both light steeds, but
right?
you could have spent your points differently on them.
Yeah, I guess you could.
Or you could use those things on the side that change the like. They're those ones that you would use to change between your different trait line setups. It'll change between mountain combat trait line setups, but in the mountain combat trait line panel. Um, so those will change it. Inside of that panel, you can spend your points wherever you want. You're not stuck to one color,
Right.
by any means. Uh, line
Now,
points
yeah.
in the trait line that you have up without changing which line you're looking at, though, in any of the colors or across the top, will also dismount you when you apply it. So, if you are in motion or otherwise not wanting to be dismounted, just be warned, changing anything to do with your trait lines, including just spending points without changing which one you're looking at, will dismount you. So,
So be
uh,
warned on that. Now,
you will be warned.
yeah.
The
Now,
stances do change your skills, but they don't like change where they are located. It just changes it to do whatever it says it's going to change it to do when you change your writing stance.
right. Some of them do slightly different things depending on whether you're in yellow, blue, or red at the time.
Right. And you can change those. I mean, it's very much like changing a minstrel's stances.
Right.
Um, Especially if you're on a minstrel. Uh, one line's gonna do more healing stuff. One line's gonna do more damage stuff. It's kind of fun to play with, but do read the tooltips if you want to know what it's going to do.
Yes. The one of the things
And
note
changing your go ahead.
yeah, one of the things to note is that the yellow line, those tend to be, well, the red and blue line ones, most of them are the same for all classes. The yellow line ones change quite a bit based on your class.
Yes. And you can tell that when you've changed stances that your skills have changed because the skills actually change colors.
That's
Um,
useful.
yeah, I just tested it. Um, Not like so much so that you're not going to recognize what the skill is. Like they stay in the same spot, but there's a definite immediate shift, and you can see like the game make a change. Um, so you can tell that it changed, and it is immediate. Of course, if you got dismounted, you might not be able to see it in the middle of changing because you have to mount back up to see your skills again. But if you're just changing stances, that will not dismount you. You can do it fluidly while you're going places, and it will change your skills. Just tooltip over them to see what they do now, if you're not sure.
Okay.
And I mean, as much as anything is immediate in LOTRO, it is immediate. Barring lag, it changes. Pineleaf, what are warbands?
Warbands. Oh,
Should we go to their concert?
not that type of band.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Now the warbands. It sounds like something that you get from a Highland festival. All right.
Right? Or that you might find on Weathertop
Or you might find on
during
Weathertop.
Weatherstock.
Yes. Now, in any case, war bands, they are groups of usually mounted foes that operate, that were designed to be threats to be handled through mounted combat in there. So it's I think the probably closest thing I could think of to them are roving threats, except that while roving threats are sometimes over level for the region where they're in, such as the was it 100 level 100 roving threat that's in the Shire, for example.
There's one in the Shire?
I think there was one in the
There's
Shire.
definitely ones in the North Downs
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Edendon.
It could be. I'm thinking. Actually, it might. The one I was thinking there might be something else that might not technically be a roving threat. When I was thinking that was in the Shire, I think there was another thing called dangerous foes. Or, I can't remember what it
Fair.
was, but it was. But yeah, I think I may have been conflating that with roving threats. But right, I think you. But I know that by the time you get to North Downs, yeah, you start to run into real classic roving threats. But in
Roving
any case,
threats.
but
Just for the record, if you're questing, especially at low levels, and you see something with a green glowy head, and it looks really awesome, like something you definitely want to engage in combat with, wait till you're level 100. Heads up. Or are well over level 100 and are solo.
yeah, those things are nasty. But in any case, so you could think of warbands as something similar to roving threats. Though I think they existed before roving threats existed. I think.
Probably.
Anyway,
They would have come out with Rohan, I would guess.
Yeah, they came out with Rohan. They came out with Rohan, and they're
And
going out
it
with
was definitely not level 100 at the time.
yeah, yeah. That was not the camp at the time, and the idea of war bands is to have a mounted combat moving threat going over. But I think they were originally thinking of some really, really elaborate stuff to give you hints of the approach of a war band or something like that. But they had to scale that back a little bit because they were talking about like dust clouds forming in the distance and stuff like that, which is which which I could just imagine they tried to do it and they found no, this is not working, or it was causing too much lag or something. So I don't think it even made it to the beta servers.
Fair.
But
A
anyway,
warband is coming. You can see the cloud of dust and your computer crashed again.
yes. But in any case, but what happens is you have so the warband is it's said a group of mobs. It's usually a group. I think there are a couple roving bands that only include a single mob. Like there's a giant in
Like the
the Norcrops
yep,
that is it. It was either a giant or a very big troll. I'm not too sure which of
fair.
those. But in any case, it was something that they recommended that you'd fight mount. Now, actually, the, the giant would not be mounted, of course, but those they include human or orc. Orcs were on horseback on it. If they were animals and stuff like that, like there's one that was a herd of cattle, for example. Maybe been a herd of bulls, or well, so you had to go and fight them in order to get there. I think so that would go all through. So obviously they would be mounted, but I mean, you could almost imagine something being mounted on them. I guess is a possibility. So the idea there is that they were designed to be used on with while mounted. Though I must admit that usually I fight them on foot anyway, unless it's one that's actually a mounted foe. Because if it's a mounted foe, you're gonna have a whole lot of trouble tackling them while on foot. But if I was going against that giant or something similar to that, then I'll most likely just do that on foot if I was on a class that could do that way. Like for example, a minstrel or a hunter or something like that. So I would usually prefer doing it that way. But you know that I tend to avoid mounted combat under all circumstances.
Fair.
Yes.
So one way you can know that you're close to one is that the landscape quest for that warband will pop up,
Yep.
and it will tell you if it is a solo, small fellowship, or full fellowship level warband
Or a raid one
as
even.
well when that pop or raid. There's a few raid ones too.
Yeah.
Uh, so when that pops up, especially if you're on level, it might be a good idea to just check because if it's a solo warband and the quest is around your level, then you're probably good to engage if you feel fairly confident. Um, if it's a raid level warband around your level or above your level, maybe go a different direction for a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that
so
tend to be avoided, yes. Now,
right.
the
So if
early
you've got a
one,
lot of friends with you, go for it.
the first few that you run into at the very beginning, they tend to emphasize the lower sizes. For example, the very, very first one you're likely to run into is
Cinder.
is Cinder, yes. So it's hard to forget that name.
It's a huge salamander.
Yeah, flanked by two
I
other
think he
salamanders.
I was gonna say I think he's got a couple smaller
Y-
salamanders with him,
Yeah,
but it's hard for me to remember because I almost always encounter Cinder in the middle of all the salamanders.
yeah. There are, yeah,
So,
yeah. That's where Cinder tends to
but I'm pretty sure
go through.
not all of them are with Cinder.
Yeah, only two of them. Only two of them are with Cinder.
Okay.
If you run into any other salamanders while fighting them, then they're just extras on there. But Cinder is designed for solo. It's designed for someone. In fact, that I think is the only warband that I think was designed in mind that they were expecting people to fight the warband on foot. And the reason for that is that you're most likely going to run into Cinder while doing a quest that's a prerequisite for getting your war steed. So it's so there's a high percentage chance that you're going to fight that one before you have a war
On
steed.
foot.
So therefore, I'm they made that one a pretty easy one simply because they had, you know, expecting you to be while in this area where you're supposed to be killing salamanders, and suddenly you see a salamander come up. What are you going to do? You're going to attack the thing. So yeah, I could just imagine if they had put a raid level one that absolutely requires mounted combat into the area, what would the complaints they would have gotten?
I'm sure it wouldn't have been very much fun either because people would have just like stopped getting their war steeds.
Yes,
Um, Encountering Cinder first was a
a bit of a warm up.
good warm up. A little bit more challenging than the other salamanders in the area, but not so much so that you want to just give up.
Yeah, usually what I do if I see Cinder in the area, I track her until they're outside of the rest of the salamanders, and then I go into attack. I think
Yeah.
it's
Or if I've just killed the rest of the salamanders when Cinder shows up, I'll pull Cinder out of the salamander area to avoid respawns.
yeah, and it's pretty easy because I think it's a signature plus two normals. I believe is what you're going to encounter in the area, so it's not all that of a huge challenge. It was when you get to the others, like for example, the full fellowship ones where you have a couple of elites with several signatures in there where things really get dicey. And there is one that's at a ford in the Norcrofts. I think it's labeled as a solo. And I can tell you that the the troll that the giant troll, whatever that is, that's marked as a small fellowship one, I consider that to be 3 times easier than that supposedly solo one, which kills me every time I attack it.
Well, it doesn't help that it's near the ford because if you're trying to ride a war steed and you touch water, you're likely to get dismounted.
Well, the idea of a ford, if placed properly, is that the water is not as deep as it is at the other locations. So
Well, I know, but it's like the
I
mail in the Shire used to be, where like you like dip your toe in the water and it says you soaked the mailbag. And you're like, I swear this is a rock that I'm standing on, not water, and the game doesn't know. So I think that's what happens. Um, but yes, some of them are harder to fight than others, and you do get boxes of spoils from them though, and some of them have cool stuff in them. Um, you could get some cosmetics. You could get some housing items. Of course, you can get some crafting stuff. And then you get your quest rewards for doing it too. So, I don't know, they're kind of fun, but whether you want to take them on or not, I think is completely up to you and what you're doing that day and what type of warband you encountered.
Yeah,
I think there's also probably a deed to kill them.
probably there's a deed for just about everything else.
Yeah. So if you're deeding, then yeah. If you want to avoid them and you don't want to fight, go somewhere else. You can see them on the map. There's an icon, and just look where they are and go a different direction.
Yeah, so if you
They're
see,
pretty easy to outrun, especially if they haven't engaged.
yeah, it's a very obvious red arrow that points to the location of the warband.
Yep. And when they're not attacking, they're not moving nearly as swiftly as you will be. If they are attacking you, then they'll keep up with you pretty easily. But you can always ride through a doorway or something else. They don't appear to be dismounted by water, though, so be careful if you're near a river.
They don't? Mm,
Maybe they get dismounted too.
well,
That could be
I
fun.
know that regular enemies could easily get dismounted in water because there were plenty of times where the mounted foe I was fighting suddenly became dismounted because they ran into a pond.
There. Maybe they get dismounted and they just still move quickly. I don't know.
Mm.
I just know that when I get dismounted in a river, it doesn't seem to have the same sort of like stop you in your tracks effect on them that it does on me. But that might just have been the particular warband too, because I don't know. I haven't usually dragged them through the rivers to double check that
Mhm.
because I don't like falling off my horse while fighting a warband.
Yeah. And how do you decide whether or not you're going to fight it?
Mostly based on my mood and which warband it is and whether or not I'm hunting warbands that day.
Well, I guess that's pretty much says it. Is yeah, can you take this one on? I mean, if it's a raid one and I'm running around solo, then I'm definitely not going after it unless I'm recording is things that you should never do in LOTRO.
Do you record that often?
No.
I don't think so. Probably at this point, level 150, level 130, I'd probably take a warband, even if it was raid level, just to see. Um, if I was in the area and wanted to. But also at that point, they wouldn't aggro on me, even if I rode right through the middle of them, unless I hit them. So, um, yeah, I would just choose based on my mood.
All right.
Uh, and then when on a war steed and moving quickly, how far away is a safe distance for a warband to be? Um, out of sight?
Mm.
You know, you can see them pretty close. It depends on your level. They aggro kind of like regular mobs aggro. So the lower level you are compared to them, the further away they'll spot you and charge. The higher level you are, like they might be great to you and it won't matter at all. You can be standing in the middle of them. You just have to be careful to not accidentally auto attack them if you don't want to fight them.
Which is something that is very different from them from roving threats because roving threats actually do it reverse from just about every other mob in that they are less likely to attack lower level mobs. I think you'd have to just practice
You have
uh,
to basically walk up to them
to
before they'll attack you if you're low level, if it's a roving threat.
if it's a roving threat, right?
but I believe the war bands um, act more like normal mobs.
I've never gone into Rohan in a warband area with a low level character to test out that question.
Okay, I haven't gotten severely under level, but if they're red or orange, they still aggro like other things do.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, if you feel like they might be aggroing on you or you start hearing combat music, it's time to skedaddle if you don't want to fight. But also, it could just be another random mounted enemy nearby. So, pay attention to your surroundings.
And if you
Um,
are trying to evade one by outrunning it, then better hope that you are mounted because you're not going to be able to
you
outrun them.
definitely want to be mounted. You don't want to take the time to mount up at that point. But also, if you're a hunter, like, you could desperate flight to a campfire or something. Um, if you're a minstrel, you could flop. If you're a hobbit, you could flop. Like, there are ways to get out of it if you don't want to fight it, but those ways are the ways that you get out of any fight. So,
Well, let's see. Desperate Flight, though, takes you to the nearest mm, rally point, doesn't it?
mm, yeah, nearest red circle.
Yeah. So just hope that you
Um,
don't run into them near the red circle.
oh yeah, some of them like camp res circles, and you like respawn and they attack immediately again, and that's not very much fun. Um, the light war steed does have the feign injury skill. So if you're on a light war steed and they're coming up on you too fast and you want to get away from them, sometimes just feigning injury and letting them pass is the best solution. Um, I don't know that you can do that on the other. Well, I know you can't do that on a medium or heavy war steed though. But it's basically the same as your character flopping. Uh, and there have been
Uh-huh.
times when I've feigned injury on my war steed and then it's been taken out by AoE damage, like the little cloud around wraiths or whatever. That was a pretty
Of
big problem
course.
in the um what was that area where you like went back in time
Okay, you mean that would have
into
been in
old Mordor
Mordor?
or whatever?
Yeah,
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 not like current Mordor, but like old Mordor.
yeah. In Second
Um,
Age
that
Mordor, yeah.
was a real big problem. Like you could feign injury and drop aggro, but the AoE cloud around the mob would just kill your worst steed anyway, and then you'd have to like flop or something. Um,
Mhm. Oh,
but those skills can be used in conjunction with each other to drop aggro if you really want to get out of something.
and burglars have a disguise skill that they could use, which disguises
Oh
you
yeah,
as an orc in order to
it's
be
great.
ignored by them. Yes.
It wears off when you go into a city though.
Well, would you want to go into a city dressed up like an orc?
No, not particularly.
Yes.
But if you're like riding through like straight through an encampment of free peoples, plan accordingly.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anything else to add on this?
Worst eating is fun and awesome, and you need to be prepared to make big circles
Yeah, I get the impression that you are.
or ovals.
Mm,
That you are.
all right. Then that's a bit of a problem then. All right. So I guess that's it for the new player question this week. So let's head into our week in Lotro. Now, is Cinder's here or completely off, or did she just take us
I
off mix up?
believe Cinder's internet went out.
Okay, and then in which case, I guess we will go to you.
I helped check some bridges and run errands around Glen Haleg, and got ready to go back into Radlaw. So that was pretty much my week before real life took over. So
All right.
how was your week in Lotro, Pine Leaf?
Well, my warden resumed the Mizadi storyline, so I've started the second part of that, which we discussed earlier, that they just released. And I also finished all of the new missions, the set of 10 missions that we had Miz- for Mizati at our second campsite in there. I've gone through each of the days in there. Day 4, though, I've never finished it because the second mission on day 4 seems to having trouble getting the scout to appear in there. I think a lot of people have been having that trouble. I've had one person tell me that they've been successful in getting the scout to appear by making sure that they killed at least one copy of every single mob or something like that. Not quite sure of the details or anything like this. One of the problems is that those mobs respawn. They have a pretty rapid respawn rate. So it's possible that in some cases I met the quota by killing some of the same mobs 3 or 4 times, and that I might have missed one or two mobs and never killed that one, and so therefore never spawned the scout in there. At least that is just a hypothesis on there. I'm hoping that Standing Stone Games finds out what the issue is and corrects it so that we'll be able to reliably complete this mission in there. Because right now, I've tried it at least 4 different times, and in none of those occasions has the scout appeared in there. So that's the one that I have not yet completed in there, but I have completed the other 9 days. Now, as for our hard traveler group, we quested in the Great River area, so we made it to Stangard and met Horn for the first time. And I guess
Yay.
we might run into him a couple of times later in the course of our questing, right?
Possibly.
Possibly, always a possibility. And the merry crew during the field trip headed on into the Iron Hills, so we made it to Yarnfast. And that is my week in Lotro. If you have any feedback for us, you can send us an email at podcast@lotraplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have Lotra Players News, and we record DDO Players News when Drac is available. You guys join us for our shows at lotraplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight. Then this is Piney Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.